This has to be the absolute strangest 19th century canal lock I have ever seen. This is Lock 12 on Ohio's Hocking Canal. I'm Darren, and this is the Industrial Revolution. Let's take a look at it while we discuss just why this lock is so incredibly strange. So I already knew of Ohio's Hocking Canal, of course. It's one of several side canals off of the Ohio and Erie Canal. You can check out several videos I've done on that canal. I've even hiked in the nearby state park, which has a lot of great trails, but I haven't really checked out the canal at all. Then I got an email last fall from YouTube's Deb D. Traveler with some photos on this lock, called the Sheep Pen Lock, just outside Rockbridge, Ohio, asking if I knew what was going on here. I have to admit, when I first saw the photos, I really didn't have any idea at all what was going on. There's two pretty standard lock gates, although the wooden gates themselves, also called whalers, are missing. But then, in the middle, it bulges way out on the sides. I knew that I was going to have to visit this place and figure this out. Online research didn't really explain it either. I learned that this lock was originally intended to be just a guard lock, which is a single gate, usually set at the beginning of a canal segment, where the canal comes off of a lake or river. During normal operation, it's usually just left open, and it tends to only be closed if they either need to drain the canal or if there's severe flooding expected, and then they'll close it to protect the canal from damage. So floods here are not really all that uncommon, and in fact, it was repeated flooding that led to the Hocking Canal closing around 1890. Things look pretty flooded here today, with the old towpath, now the road, being partially underwater, but the water in the canal is actually still just a little bit low. Guard locks can sometimes be built higher than standard in order to manage floods, but I suspect in operation the water level would probably have been a good foot or more higher than it is today, at the upper level, of course. Well, it turns out the upriver side of this canal segment varied in depth quite a bit more than what they expected. So before the canal even opened, they realized that they'd need to convert this from a single gate guard lock into a standard double gate lift lock. Now around here, the term lift lock has a special meaning, referring to locks like the Peterborough, Ontario lift lock, shown here at its grand opening in 1904 and still in operation today. So instead of calling these lift locks, I usually just call them locks or canal locks. In addition to adding the second gate, they also added this bypass channel going around the side of the lock. These are essential to keep the downstream parts of the canal watered, even if there's not a lot of lock traffic. Remember, canals leak, evaporation occurs, and if there's downstream traffic but not upstream, the canal could quickly become too shallow for navigation. While often not preserved, these bypass channels, with a dam built where you see the stone blocks today, ensure that there's enough water for navigation, and also that they have a very gentle current flowing through the entire canal, which is there to prevent problems from stagnation. Check out this tree right on the water line. First, I do really wish someone would come out here and remove the trees, at least the growing ones, from around the lock before they do more damage. But this is how I saw it when I visited. When Deb was here last fall, though, this is what she saw. You can see that the water is a few feet, maybe a meter or so lower than when I visited. But you can also see just how much those sides slope in at the bottom. Now I knew what was going on. The downriver gate was built first as a guard lock. Along with it, the upstream sloped sides were built. These were built as somewhat smaller, lighter, easier to work with stones, and were mostly just there to prevent erosion. You don't want waves washing out around the sides of the guard lock. When they decided to convert to a full canal lock, they looked at the existing walls and they realized they could just use that existing stonework from the central part of the lock and then just add a single gate structure upstream. That concrete wall and gravel fill above the upstream gate, well, that was added much later, probably when the historic landmark sign was installed, just to let people walk to the far side. So that's one mystery solved. And the sheep pen part? Well, one version of the story is that sometime after 1900, a local farmer used the lock as a sheep pen. But looking at the water levels here, even during droughts, I lean much more toward the other version of the story, which is that after the first part of the lock was built, but before the dam upstream was constructed and the canal opened, that's actually when the local farmer used the lock as a sheep pen. It seems like the sheep would have been way happier that way.
So while this may be one of the strangest looking canal locks that I've ever seen, probably one of the strangest looking you've ever seen, as we see, there's a really good reason for it, and it actually did do its job, and it did it pretty well. Now, Lock 12 here is not going to win any beauty contests, obviously. The structure is just weird, let's be honest. But despite that, this is the Industrial Revolution.
Hey, wait just a second before you go. I need your help to keep the channel growing here. First thing you can do is really easy. Just like, subscribe, share this video. Tell all your friends about it. That spreads the word. YouTube will see that and we'll show this to more people. Commenting more than just 2 or 3 words. YouTube says that's the most important thing you can get. It's the best kind of user interaction there is. So you can comment more than just 2 or 3 words. Also, if you're able to and are interested in helping out financially, these are pretty expensive videos to film, a lot of travel costs on top of the hours of work I do here. You can help out at patreon.com/industrialrevolution or become a member here on YouTube or a single contribution through Super Thanks. Also have an affiliate store. If you click that, anything you buy there, a percentage of that purchase will come to help fund the channel. Thanks for your help and look forward to seeing you next week.